I got to $25,000 in reoccurring revenue due to these three messages. People tend to overthink how to message on LinkedIn, and that was kind of my advantage. Early on, I struggled with email just because of the thoroughness, overthinking just the subject line, the context of what you should put in the body of the message. And I realized on LinkedIn, no matter who you're emailing, whether it's a CEO, down to a manager, down to an individual contributor, the answer is still short, sweet, concise, and to the point. And so these three messages, I've used them time and time again. I've switched them up based on the industry that I'm supporting, and have really drawn strong results. I'll show you these three messages and share my screen here shortly. These three messages right now are in the context of staffing, kind of my background and helping with hiring strategy, but very easy for you to see the framework, the formula, and rework these questions into your business. What I'll say is that back to the overthinking, really the goal on your first message, like after you sent a connection request to your ICP, your ideal customer profile, and they've accepted, you're just trying to get a response. You have one signal that they've accepted. So now that you know that they're on LinkedIn, now it's how do you get to the next signal, which is just gaining a response. Early on LinkedIn, I overthought this a bit coming out of email years ago and thought this needed to be a perfect pitch or even like, hey, let's just jump right into a case study or social proof. Um, it's much more about creating conversations on LinkedIn and for the first message specifically, just trying to get a response. So I'll share my screen. Okay, now that you can see my screen, you can see here, pretty short and sweet. I'm a very tactical guy. I like to just keep it straight to the point and talk about, kind of the meat and bones of, in this case, the messaging strategy. So you have message number one here, of course, right? And then you have message number two here and message number three right below that. Essentially, if you can see this, open up my screen a little bit. Right. Like I said, this is in context if you're working at a staffing firm or if you're trying to reach out to people to see if they're hiring. You can see in number one, hopefully the first thing that jumps out to you is for all these messages is that they're very digestible. They're short, succinct, clear, concise, kind of straight to it. There's going to be some schools of thought on these that, hey, you're kind of pitch slapping right away. I totally disagree with all of that. I mean, somewhat of like, yes, you can tell that if I just connected with you and I sent you this first message, it's kind of like, okay, click his profile, like I see he's in staffing. Well, guess what? We're on LinkedIn and we're trying to build collaborations, partnerships, and do business. So I don't, we can get into that on another topic, but I do believe in getting to it. Again, definitely depends on who you're reaching out to. Like I would send this to pretty much directors on up, director, VP, SVP, VPs, founders, for sure. I might take a little bit of a different approach for ICs, but I probably would just, be a little bit softer on, just asking like one question at a time for an IC. But nonetheless, these are the messages. Hi, name. Thanks for connecting. Curious, how is the hiring strategy managed for you and team? Do you oversee it, or is there another contact handling it? It's like a yes or no question, right? And then they can either like provide me the name or not. Again, we're just trying to get more data. So it's like, yes, Mike, yeah, I do, or no, I don't, or yes or no. And sometimes it even goes further than that, like, no, I don't. Here is John that does, or Sally that doesn't. Hi, name. Thanks for connecting. What is your hand in the hiring strategy? So even more simple, right? I just condensed it. One line. Again, as you can see with all these, I treat them almost as if you're doing SMS outreach text. They're real short. I would send this right to like I said, a senior director or higher, and I've done that, and it's gotten great response. I think they appreciate just the brevity and just getting right to it. I like message number three a lot too. Glad to connect, name. How's Q4 going? Right. You don't even have to use, you can use the calendar, quarters. I've helped staff innovative data scientists at Salesforce, Microsoft, Cloudflare. Again, I'm just using these as an example. Open to connecting next week. So again, social proof, right? You're kind of hitting, again, the goal here is hopefully you're hitting some companies that punch pretty good weight with the person you're doing outreach to. Like if somebody was at Oracle here, they would really appreciate how Salesforce, Microsoft, Cloudflare punches weight. If you're going after startups or medium-sized companies, lean into those as your social proof if you have them. Um, these are the three that I have used and have really seen good results, like better than email. So I hate to throw out numbers and things like that because it totally depends, but I'm seeing 20% or plus, or or much higher on the response rates. Typically, if you keep at it, you'll see over time that these response rates will get even better, right? So depending on how big the data size is, that's what matters. But yes, that's the benefit of LinkedIn is you can't do as much outreach on email, but the quality, if done right, can still yield to moving prospects down the funnel. So first thing, get a connection. Second thing, messaging. I still believe in kind of getting to it, but making it very easy to read, digestible, because people are reading this on their phone. They're reading it very fast, and it could be very noisy for them. If you can imagine, if I'm reaching out to hiring managers on LinkedIn right now, I can basically do a Boolean search and look at I'm hiring and go after pretty much everybody that has an I'm hiring, in their on their LinkedIn profile. So yeah, these three messages, I'm really passionate about this. I've tried long form. I've tried. I think there's a time and place, like on your follow up message 3 or 4, to go longer form, to go straight with the social proof. But this is as much social proof and flex that I will use. Data scientist, right? Assuming obviously it has to fit something that you actually have and can do, and you wouldn't be targeting somebody that wouldn't need data scientists if that's what you. So that's the focus, that's the prep there, and absolutely lean into that. Um, yes, and so the number one question I usually get is, okay, they've responded, but now what? And I get really excited about responses because of momentum. Of course, at the end of the day, we need to connect, message, convert to a meeting or demo, convert to commission revenue for the company, kind of those four metrics or that type of funnel. But yeah, getting the responses, you can always kind of work and find a way to try to get in front of your target audience based on and even if the answer is no to these questions, I feel great about how I'm going to bypass that objection. And now I know that they're somewhat checking LinkedIn, and the game is on from there. So yeah, the way that these have kind of contributed, if you don't get a response, you can't move them down the funnel. So yes, these three LinkedIn messages have been pivotal in helping me get to $25,000 and reoccurring revenue. But obviously, you have to move them down the funnel, and in order to do that, these messages have set the table with getting a response and then getting a meeting. So hopefully, this is super helpful for you guys. But I wanted to do a YouTube video on this just to talk about kind of the simplicity of it. And again, really, you can use this for your business and change up a few things. Obviously, if you're not hiring strategy and you're doing sales pipeline help, you can do that too. Curious how is the pipeline for your sales team, right? Do you oversee it, or is there another contact that is managing this, and so forth. But yeah, hopefully this is helpful, and we'll talk soon on the next one. Thank you.